The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com. All right. Excuse me. Hello. Let me start that again. 3, 2, 1. All right. Hello. Welcome to a live episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. You'd have thought I'd been ready for that, Drew. And then all of a sudden I got that clump in my throat and it was like, so sorry about that.
Your voice is not trained to be talking this early on a Sunday.
Exactly. We are starting our show a little bit earlier than normal. So yeah, you're right. My pipes haven't warmed up to this time, but good to have you on, Drew. How you doing this afternoon? As we like to, I guess it's still afternoon, so we can say yes. Good afternoon to everybody.
I'm doing fine, my brother. Got a engagement this evening, so appreciate you making the decision to come on an hour early instead of cutting the show an hour short, so that we can give our people their full 2 hours, 2-ish hours. You know, hopefully we keep it to a very short-ish to today. Not we've had shows where you and I have said we're gonna get in and out of here in a little bit over an hour, and 3 hours later we still going over topics. So, and that's the good thing about the format of our show, the long form. If conversations lead to further conversations and going totally off our script, then fine, so be it. As long as we get up and go to work on Monday morning, it's all good. But you don't have it right now, since you're in the educational field, the secondary educational field, and you're in that 8 to 10 weeks where you don't have to worry about getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So,
but
unfortunately, I'm on the collegiate level now, so I'm back to it doesn't matter for me.
my internal clock still wakes me up at 5:30 in the morning, and then I have to
don't
go
that piss you off?
Oh, I don't know, that's part. Yeah, it does. I was gonna say something, but I'm not. But yeah, it does. It does. It's but I'm an early bird, so and I'm training myself to learn how to go to bed a little bit earlier. I'm glad you said you had an engagement this evening and not an entanglement.
No, sir.
You got okay.
No, sir.
I was just trying to see if you were, how.
No, sir. Maybe 20 years ago, I may have fallen into that trap, but not at my age anymore.
I got you. Got to say hello to Mary 305. First one to get in. She must have, Mary, you must have the bell and the notification, which is great. So that when you follow the show and there's a notification set up that you get the notice that, hey, these guys are going live. So we appreciate you, Mary, for jumping in, because this is one of those episodes. Who knows? Half the people may not come in until about 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 Central, an hour into the show, and be like, "Yo, you guys started early." Yeah, we started early, but hey, look, we sent out the look. We do the best we can with trying to alert people. Hopefully, our format. Our format is we come on Sunday evenings around this time, and so
6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central on 90% of the Sundays. But out of the 52 Sundays, we probably 48 of them come on at that time. That's 2 weeks in a row we haven't been on at our regular time, Brian, because last week we did the pregame to the SWAC baseball championship instead of our regular show. I hope people tuned in at 6 o'clock and realized we wasn't there and went back and watched their replay.
Right.
And
right.
how right were we in our analysis over those 2 days?
We were very right. Before we get into that, let me do the standard protocol intro. Say hello to anybody watching us on Facebook. Of course, anybody watching us on Twitter and all the places where you might be watching us. Hopefully, you are already a follower of the Black College Sports Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MyBCSN1, the number 1. And then if you're following the Jericho Broadcast Network's app on the Google Play or Apple App Store, if not, you can go just search MyJBN, MyBCSN is where you can find us. Getting back to our predictions last Sunday. So I realized this, we did it. All right. We did a pre-show before the SWAC baseball tournament. And yes, we, both made good, strong, solid predictions leading into that game. I think you and I both picked the Florida Classic, and we both picked FAMU to win. And so that was pretty fun. I tell you, I told you this offline. I didn't pitch an inning or one out or one strike, and I did not swing a bat. But, dude, I was tired after that trip to Atlanta. And I felt like going up to Atlanta and even 2 days after coming back, I've been in my car. I think, you get notifications that say how long you've been on your phone. I think I had more driving time in my car or in the car that I was in than I did phone time. I mean, between my parent, my dad, and my sister live up there in Atlanta. So between traveling with them, in between games, getting to the ballpark, going home, going here, catching up with Roy, I was in the car so much. I mean, a beautiful car. I had no problems, but by the end of the trip, Drew, I was tired. I think my arms and shoulders and body just hurt from being in the car. I don't know if you've experienced trips like that. But yes. That was the one thing. So I mean, I'm thankful we won, because at the end of the day, winning took away the pain of all that driving. Let me just say that.
How were your knees, Bryan?
Actually, they were pretty good. I didn't catch any random hamstring leg cramps. Which if you don't stretch, or if you don't have the right amount of potassium or water, all of those factors, I'm learning in age, and I'm learning with age how to prepare for road trips, Drew. And again, rest stops. Hey, me and rest stops, we are simpatico. I love rest stops. I'm telling you, I love them. Love them. Not for any strange reason. Let me preface that. There's no shenanigans. No, I don't love rest stops like that, but I just the chance to get to a place where I can stretch, go to the bathroom, kind of wonder where are those people going, or just kind of wander around my scenery. I'm becoming a fan of Florida rest stops. So all right,
I got you. Hey, Bryan, you're in the car when your butt starts hurting. That's when you've been in the car too long. And everybody has probably been there at some point in time.
Yes, and that's why they made rest stops every 30 to 40 miles for you to what? If you miss one, don't miss the second one. Get out of the car, and stretch and do all the other stuff. So
I'm not a rest stop fan, Bryan, but in order of my stops, and this is not a paid promotion, Buc-ee's.
Oh, love Buc-ee's.
I'll do a Love's.
Hold on. Let me go back for a second.
I'll do a Circle K.
How much are you spending at Buc-ee's? What's the over under? Because when I tell you how much I spent at Buc-ee's this last trip, you may be like, "Damn, B, what's your average that you may spend at Buc-ee's?"
Am I hungry or not? That's the question.
Oh well, man, let's go hungry.
I might walk out of there without fuel. I might walk out of there at extra $20 or so.
$20. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Not
plus
bad.
The fuel.
And that $20 plus fuel?
Yes.
What are you buying? Just a soda? You're spending how much on gas, and then what are you just buying? One soda?
No. If you get, I'm not including the fuel in that $20.
Oh, I got you. Okay. You know what? You're a smarter spender than me.
That's your food. That's your chips. That's your drink, and you may pick up a novelty item. $15 to $20 if I'm eating.
That's pretty good. Not now.
Snacks.
Don't get too mad at me. And this is I have to curb my spending, because I feel like I need a Buc-ee's gift card. If anybody would like to send me a Buc-ee's gift card, that might help me out here. But yeah, I went in there after getting gas, and I was courteous enough, Drew. After getting gas, I drove to one of the parking spots. I didn't just sit in my
125 pumps, Bryan.
I get that, but I still felt like, some kind of way about, because it could take me 30 minutes inside of Buc-ee's. It really could.
Especially the lines.
Yes, and if you got to go to the bathroom. So I was courteous enough to get out of the gas pump area, go to a parking spot, right? And so I get into Buc-ee's. My usual routine, got to hit the bathroom first. That's the first. I'm in there playing like O.J. Simpson in a Hertz commercial. I'm just like, dash, get out the way, kid, move. And I'm taking angles from grandmothers in wheelchairs and shopping carts, and Buc-ee's there, and he's taking pictures, and I'm like, oh, excuse me, Buc-ee, get out the way. I got to get to the bathroom. And so all of that stuff is happening, and I'm trying to get to the bathroom. I always hate it for the women, because that line is always super long, and I laugh every time. But anyway, I go
just like the club.
Look just like the club, exactly. Sucks to be a woman at times, right? You can't make enough bathrooms for women, I guess. So I get over to the, you do that. You do a men's bathroom thing. You get in and out quickly, and there's people still in line in the same spot when you walked in. And so by the time I did the routine circle, which is drink, brisket bar, jerky bar, the canned drink wall, dude, I walked out of there with about a $45 bill. No lie,
bro. Just stop. You're making me mad. Just stop. Let's change the subject.
A good quarter of that though, a good third of that was on jerky though. A third of that was on jerky. You can stand there and sample jerky all day if you want, but I'm telling you, it's like the only place I go to get jerky. Good stuff. So anyway, Buc-ee's, you guys, anybody watching, I'd love to hear your Buc-ee adventures. Any good tips and tricks? Maybe a snack that I've never tried. Like I haven't tried the Buc-ee, what is it, the corn nuts or whatever it is or something. I don't know. What's your favorite Buc-ee snack? Maybe that's a question of the day. Anybody out there listening, feel free to jump in the chat rooms, or you can reach us on Twitter. You can find Drew at BCSN Drew. You can find me at DRB365. All right, so the Florida A&M Rattlers, the baseball team, the only HBCU team to go to the NCAA Regionals, one of 64, tied with a couple other teams for the longest odds, by the way, Drew, to win the championship. I think it was 300-1 were the odds of like FAMU and 4 other teams to like the lowest odds. But anyway, I couldn't find any good odds of getting out of the regionals. But anyway, the Rattlers were playing the University of Florida, who came into the contest ranked number 2. They were the number 2 seed, which essentially meaning the second best team in the College World Series. And, historically, one of the things that FAMU, in the 2 previous times that FAMU had gone to the regionals, I think I saw a number where they were outscored something like 45-7 and 45-9. I mean, they were just like walloped, like mollywopped I think it was each of the 2 previous settings, the other team put up 45. I mean, the teams put up 45 total. You know what I'm saying? I think that is what I saw. I may have seen something different, or maybe that was a combined over those 2 previous appearances in what essentially was 4 games, right? So I got to go. I didn't do too much research on that. I just recall reading it through the course of some pre-notes. But FAMU opened up the contest, gave up a 2-run inning. First off, let's talk about this fact, Drew. FAMU started with their number 2 starter, and that was something that Coach Shoup talked to myself, Kelvin, and Marcus on the ONG Strike Zone on Wednesday. He told us that the number 2, Caleb Granger, was going to start. And that's typically something, Drew, that a lot of teams do in these kind of matchups, right? Explain to the people who aren't familiar why FAMU's not starting with their number 1. And then Florida didn't start with their number 1. In fact, Florida probably started with their number 3 guy. Did I lose you? I may have lost Drew. Drew, did I lose you?
I'm trying to figure out it. I'm here. I don't know if that's my signal or your signal, Bryan.
Well, it's hard to tell. Did you happen to hear anything I was saying a second ago?
Yeah, you were talking about the pitching matchups, and
yeah, I just want you to come talk about
the UF did not start their aces in game.
Yeah, just talk a little bit about that if you would.
Yeah, usually in a regional matchup, you've got 4 seeds: a number 1, a number 2, a number 3, and a number 4. Seeds 2 and 3 typically will start their ace on day 1 because they do not want to go into the losers bracket. All right. On day one, in the 1-4 game, teams rarely start their ace on day one. You figure if you're a 1 seed, you're a 1 seed for a reason. So the 1 seed tends to what I like to call is throw off, and they will throw their number 2 or possibly even their number 3 starter. And if you think of it in a traditional baseball series, your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, this is probably your Sunday starter, which is what University of Florida did. The number 4 seed, knowing they're number 4 seed for a reason, and they figure they have a greater chance of beating the team that they're playing on day 2 tournament, which is the loser of the 2 and 3 game, will tend not to throw their ace and save their ace for their most winnable game, which is game 2 for them. So in this case, Florida A&M started their number 2 starter or their Saturday starter on the first day of the tournament, and he pitched well. And then they come back on the second day with Hunter Beats. So I hope I summed it up for you, Brian.
Yeah, definitely you did. Is that your phone or my phone going off? All right, that's probably you. So yeah, somebody was telling me AD. Yeah, AD is on a remote location. So if anybody's noticing AD's feed being a little bit sluggish, he is on a remote location. Always dealing with hotel Wi-Fi is always a challenge. So bear with him, bear with us. We apologize. As you can see, AD working because he's on a work trip. So anyway, as it relates to this contest, Florida in the bottom half of the first inning got a 2-run homer, I believe, from the number 3 or 4 hitter. Jumped out to an early 2-0 lead. Then probably what surprised most people, including some of the 7,600 people who were in attendance at Condren Ballpark, which is the name of the park where the Gators play, the Florida Gators play, a ballpark which was built in 2019. The Rattlers did not give up another run until the 8th inning. Caleb Granger pitched very well over. I mean, he was really good, about as good as he was in the SWAC tournament. Pitched 5 scoreless innings after that first. Even got out of a tough situation where I believe the bases were loaded in the 5th inning, but you saw the FAMU defense making some great plays, committed no errors in the game. I saw we had a double play. We had guys making some great diving plays, the infield. I mean, just really, it was a great game for a 500 ball club. Which, I mean, we'll say what it is. FAMU is a 500 ball club, but we'll take that with a little asterisk, as they really didn't have too much success in the non-conference season. I think Coach Shoup pointed out that of their 29 wins, 26 of them came against SWAC opponents throughout the course of whether it be the beginning of the season all the way into the SWAC tournament. So, take that with consideration. But they were truly probably they were the best team in the SWAC at the right time of the year. But Drew, as we had the pleasure of going and watch this game, I mean, FAMU offensively really couldn't get going, but they had opportunities where they left runners on base. I think at one stretch in the middle innings, actually, if I pull up the stats here, let's see if they have the numbers here on the runners left on base. But I think they left about maybe 7 runners on base in total. And then trailing 3-0.
That sounds about right, Brian.
Yeah, trailing 3-0 going into the top of the 9th. the Rattlers actually had 2 opportunities to score runs, but were thrown out at the plate. Some will question it, obviously, because in both situations, a runner was running from second base on a single
into the outfield.
Yeah, hit to the outfield. One of them, when we looked at it, the ball kind of slowed up. And I think that kind of gave maybe the third base coach an inclination to send the runner home. This was the first tag out. And he just it felt like the runner kind of gassed out maybe about midway down the third base line. And then, we got 2 runs. And then the final out, I think, was a pickoff at home plate as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who knows? Had those 2 guys come across the plate, FAMU is down 3-2 and probably only have
with one out.
Right, with 1 out and runners on the base pads. So that game could have got as upset and butthurt as Florida Gator fans were. That game could have got real dicey in that contest. And, just in case anyone wanted to know or were curious, Florida lost the next night to the winner of the other side of that bracket, Texas Tech. I think they lost to them 5-4. So this was not a juggernaut Florida team as many had expected them to be. I think they beat UConn today by a score 8-2, which we'll talk about that game in a second. But what were your impressions, Drew, of that outing by Florida A&M? I think we both kind of left out of there really impressed by what we saw.
Yeah, definitely impressed. A lot of strikeouts in the game, though, for Florida A&M. So it was kind of a hit or miss. Either they struck out or put the ball in, got a hit, it seemed like. There was kind of no in between, just putting the ball in play a lot of times. They were not able to string multiple hits together to get runs across. Every RBI situation was a punch out. I honestly do not think, and you may correct me on this, Brian, that they actually had a runner in scoring position until the 9th inning. If they did, there was no more than 1 runner in scoring position until the 9th inning when those runners got threw out at the plate.
Who, Florida? Oh, Florida A&M?
FAMU. Yes, FAMU.
No, there were 2 other instances where
they had
on second base.
Okay.
2 other instances where, and I think but I don't think they ever had a runner on third. Never a runner on third, I believe.
And if they did have a runner on second base, it was never with less than 2 outs.
Right.
Right. And let's talk about those 2 plays at the plate, Brian. Number 1, the first one, the throw from right field. Brian, we learned at that point in time why Florida is a top 5 team at that point in time. Because even though he was out by a step and a half, that took a perfect play by UF. And let's be real, Brian, against a mid-major or against a SWAC opponent, that run probably scores, Brian.
Yep.
Because the right fielder charged the ball perfectly and threw a 1-hop strike to the catcher. All the catcher had to do was 2-hand the ball, put the tag on him. The runner, and I don't remember who the runner was, for Florida A&M tried to slide to the inside and reach back for the base. Not today, sir, said the UF catcher. So that was a great opportunity that went awry for Florida A&M. The second one, I don't know what happened on the second one, Brian. I love the aggression, but the monkey jumped on that runner's back about 3 steps around third base, and he was out by at least 10 feet, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah. That play was not even close.
Yeah, that's the one where, I think it would have been nice to have held the runner at third.
But I understand the thinking on that,
yeah,
because Florida A&M had not been able to string together a series of hits until the 9th inning. So with all that in the back of the third base coach's heads, yeah, let's be aggressive. Let's go out there and take our chances because we playing with house money right here. We're only down 3 runs. This is our last at bat. We are playing with house money. And as we get into the next game, Brian, I do want to note something. The last 2 outs of the game on Friday night, and in the first inning of the game on Saturday, there were 3 plays in the plate in 5 outs. All 3 of them occurred with Florida A&M on the field. 2 times, Florida A&M was thrown out, and in the first inning, for the 2nd out of the first inning of Game 2, Florida A&M gunned somebody out at the plate. And I tweeted that out. 3 of the last 5 outs in Gainesville have been hosed at the plate.
I was looking while you were talking about the number of multiple hits. FAMU had 3 hits in that 9th inning. Going into the 9th inning, they only had 2. So yeah, they had more than 2, but they had not put together more than 1 hit in an inning prior to that 3rd inning. So that's why
9th inning.
Yeah, the 9th inning. So we talk about the aggressiveness. And so if we can move over to the next day, the Rattlers, kicking off at noon again, throwing first pitch at noon the next day on Saturday against UConn. UConn, a team who lost by 1 run to Texas Tech. There was a lot of confidence. UConn is actually ranked number 10 in the country. And so a lot of confidence in that contest. And so, I think that was an interesting ball game. The standpoint of, is this the game where the Rattlers are going to get their first win in the NCAA tournament? I mean, they're 0 for 5 going in. But as the course of the game, let's just say this was a contest in which FAMU led at 2 different points in the contest, including the bottom of the first inning, where they led 1-0. They led at the bottom of the 3rd inning by a score of 2-1. The big inning that hurt them early was the 4th inning. They gave up 3 runs in the 4th inning. But they rallied back in the bottom of the 5th to tie it up at 5-5. And all of this, Drew, with FAMU's day 1, Hunter Veets on the mound, who honestly didn't have his let's give UConn credit. UConn looked like they were real comfortable hitting off Hunter Veets in the first half of that contest.
Yeah. Hunter was topping out about 90, 91 on the day, but it looked like his pitches just didn't have the movement that they needed to fool the UConn hitters, and they were tagging him. But once again, Veets' defense played right behind him until that 4th inning, Brian, when FAMU had their first error of the regional tournament. And that's honestly what opened up the floodgates in the 4th inning. There was an error. I'm not going to call because I don't remember exactly who the error was by, and I don't want to misquote anybody. But there was also another ball that was hit, Brian, that could have been ruled either way, either as a hit or an error, and it was ruled a hit. But it was a play that I'm not going to say should have been made, because that would have been an error, but could have been made, if that makes sense to you. And those little mishaps, along with a walk, and I think there might have even been a hit batter in that inning. led to those 3 runs. And it took a spectacular play for them to get out of that inning. And Everyday Bourier came in, throws 1 pitch, and gets FAMU out of that inning.
Yeah. Yeah, that the SWAC tournament MVP, Zach Moray, or Everyday Moray, as he's been known. He actually pitched into the 8th inning, and unfortunately, the 8th inning
gave out of gas.
Yeah, another inning where FAMU gave up 3 runs. But let me rewind that. FAMU, I think, had. I'm looking at the stat thing here, so I'm trying
4
to see
solos. 4 solo home runs. Is that where you're going?
4 solo home runs in that contest, which was pretty impressive, especially early on in the ball game. I think when they got their first that's the first 4 runs that FAMU had were all based on
first 3.
First 3 were solos, and then they got
solos,
one in the bottom 8.
Yeah. And one of them, and I can't remember who hit it. Ryan, there was no question when that ball left the bat, that ball was gone.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one of the home runs it was, but it was like, and then there was another one, Brian. I want to say maybe that 5th inning, that big 5th inning, that was hit down the left field line that hooked just foul, Brian. You may not have been able to see it on TV. And ironically, where I was sitting in the press box, I just happened to be sitting with a direct eye down the left field line from my spot in the press box. And you're not supposed to cheer in the press box, Brian. I know this. I've been in the press box too long.
You cheered. Did you get it?
Oh my God. I was like, stay fair. Come on, baby, stay fair. But it was funny. There was a reporter from a local newspaper who was seated right next to me, and he was like, "Man, I hope y'all beat UConn because I can't stand it." and honestly, that was a sentiment in the press box on Saturday. All the UF reporters who were there were some UConn people there, but all the UF reporters who were there were cheering for Florida A&M, since we are, their distant cousins, or however you want to put it. And let's be real, they were hoping that we came back and gave them another game on another day.
Yeah. That was a good representation of Rattlers. Who did
all the orange you saw was not Gator orange that you saw on TV. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. Especially on day one. And but that was, hey, I was just looking at the results from a year ago in the NCAA Regionals when Alabama State represented the SWAC, Coppin State represented the MEAC. And, Alabama State played the number 1 overall seed, Tennessee, and they lost 10-0 in that opening round game. They would end up losing 13-4 in the next game. Coppin State was taking on a bracket that consisted of East Carolina, who was the number 8 seed, and Coastal Carolina, who is a former College World Series champion, right? So that 2 programs highly regarded at that point in time. They lost 17-1 in the opening game against East Carolina. Actually fared much better against Coastal. They lost 10-8, but 2 games and out. So when I look at the fact that FAMU, for those of us who pay attention to the betting markets, the opening line against Florida was a 6.5 run line spread, meaning, Vegas predicted or thought Florida would beat FAMU by 7 or more runs. The total number of runs was like at 16. So that not only did they expect a lot of run production, they expected a large margin. So if you had bet the under and FAMU to cover, you would have came out feeling good. Now, I wasn't feeling that good. I wasn't feeling that good, Drew, going in. But man, hindsight 2020, boy, I wish I would have been feeling good going into the ballpark that day. And then the next night to also lose 9-6 in a game that, we had a lead going into the 8th inning, or at least we were tied going into the 8th inning.
Let's put that in perspective, Brian.
Yeah, please do.
2 top 10 teams in probably the toughest regional in the nation, and our little bitty HBCU lost by 3 runs in both games.
Yeah.
And Coach Shute mentioned that in his post-game presser that Brian posted on ONG Strike Zone's Facebook page and Twitter page that I was there to record for the ONG Strike Zone. He mentioned that, and he mentioned, honestly, the difference between this year's tournament team and his prior 2 tournament teams is he felt SWAC competition actually better prepared the Rattlers for the postseason than he did previously with MEAC competition when they were in the MEAC. He said the level of competition in the SWAC was that much greater, where it made that difference. Of course, that along with your midweek games and everything else. And Brian, this is probably the best finish for an HBCU in the regional tournament, even though they went 0-2 just like everybody else. But the best showing probably since Jackson State defeated Louisiana Lafayette, I believe that was at like 2013 or 2014, somewhere up in there when they pulled that first round upset.
What about those teams by Coach Kadar? Were those after or before those?
I think that would have been before. Most of those Kadar teams would have been before that one in 2014, because I believe Kadar retired in like 15 or 16, somewhere up in there.
Okay.
When Kadar retired, so those Coach Kadar teams were primarily in the 90s and early teens when he had those type of teams that made those deeper runs.
Okay. So all in all, FAMU finishes 29-30 on the season. How are we going to? I know we don't have any graphics. Do you have the numbers? Do you want to just verbally or vocalize our final top 5 BCSN rankings in Division I?
I can. Dr. Kavir says that is correct, what I was saying about those Coach Kadar teams were prior to that Jackson State run. And like I said, it was either 2013 or 2014. I can't remember which year it was off the top of my head, but it was mid-teens.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again,
I'll tell you.
There hasn't been, well, what I was going to say is, as to put a bow on it, I mean, it's been 10 years since Jackson State got that victory. I don't know all the numbers to say whether this is the closest margin of defeat, and that's the best way of saying it, for an HBCU at the NCAA Regionals. But it sure as heck feels that way, right? You know what I'm saying? If I looked at the total runs allowed, margin of win-loss, this might be the most impressive. Maybe that's something that we'll kind of crunch some numbers on, Drew, and I may send you.
Look, Dr. Kavir already gave me enough stuff to do, Brian.
All right, so here's what I do. I'll do that. I'll do that, and I will send it. I will send it in, and if I'm not in the lab, I will at least send it in, and so that way maybe give you some extra credit. We'll work together on that one. I'll send you in with some extra credit to help you out.
You know how those team assignments went, Brian.
Just in case you come up short.
Somebody did all the work, and the other person just stood up there and smiled and got the A off of it.
Exactly. I'm gonna be the guy to just stand on the side and smile, but I'm gonna do a little bit of work for you, Drew. Not a whole lot. I'm gonna do just a little bit. Okay, let's take a short break.
Come back, and then we'll come back with those polls.
Give that top 5 rankings and then get into some other stuff here. You're watching a BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and A.D. will be back in 2.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford, A.D. Drew here. And as we just finished recapping the Florida A&M University baseball team's venture into the NCAA Regionals, that their loss on Saturday pretty much concludes the baseball season, the HBCU baseball season. And so with that said, we, the Black College Sports Network, turn to our computer rankings. And the computer rankings are going to determine who our Black College National champions are. Should be pretty interesting as we've had a school that's been out in front for a large portion of it. And we'll kind of see how this ranks out. So, Drew, although we don't have any great visuals, I know you've got the information there, so let's kind of go. You give the information, and then I'll do the instant reaction.
All right, Brian. We are going to do the top 10 finishers today. You know, normally we just emphasize the top 5, but we are going to give the full top 10. We're going to name our HBCU national champion today. And I might send a graphic over to Dr. Kabir. Dr. Kabir's on episode 400. You know, why not let him actually show the visual on episode 400, Brian, on this Tuesday?
You said, wait a minute, say that again.
I said, why not let since Dr. Kabir has show number 400 on this Tuesday, make sure you tune in to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop, Dr. Kabir's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, episode 400 on this Tuesday. Mm-hmm. You know, as part of our tribute to his 400th show, we'll just let him have the graphic on Tuesday, but we'll make the announcement here on the BCSN Sports Wrap. How about that? Let's split the difference.
I'm good with that.
All right. We'll start off with the number 10 teams. Coming in at number 10 with the overall 20-17 record, 38.04 points are the Tigers of Jackson State. Coming in at number 9 is Maryland Eastern Shore, the only team in the NEC to make the tournament. That's the former BAC teams. There are 4 former BAC teams in the NEC. 40.93 points. Coming in at number 8, Brian, with a 13-20 record overall, is going to be the Jaguars of Southern University. 47.64 points. Coming in at number 6 are the Panthers of Prairie View A&M University. 15-23, 49.34 points. And coming in at number 6, Brian, 16-19 overall. They are members of the CAA. That would be the Aggies of North Carolina A&T State. 49.64 points. Give me your reaction on the second 5 there, Brian.
I'm really impressed that a pair of non-SWAC schools made the top 10, so to speak, or made it through. You know, I thought there might only be one, but that's pretty impressive that there were 2. So, yeah. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Now the question is, Brian, will the top 5 be all SWAC?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes.
Let's get to it and see.
All right.
Coming in at number 5, Brian, are another set of Tigers, Brian. This one from Texas Southern, 24-15, 52.67 points. Coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 4, Brian, 17-20 are count on Brian, our third set of Tigers in the poll. This one, Grambling State, 17-20, 54.89 points.
You still there? I may be losing you there. I'm not sure if I'm losing you or you getting hung up. Okay. All right. You're going through. So Drew's going through the he's going through the numbers here. Again.
All right, hold that thought for a second, Brian.
Uh-oh. Is this like that moment where they had to call Steve Harvey and say, "Hey, Steve, come back over here for a second. Come here, Steve. Yeah. We got the wrong order."
Yeah, we got the wrong order, Brian. Let me start this poll over. I was reading the wrong spreadsheet. I just looked at the record. I was like, wait a minute, that's not the correct record. All right, let's start off with the bottom 10 again, Brian.
Let's just start with the bottom. Let's do the top 5. Damn the bottom 10.
Let's start with the bottom. I'll go through
the bottom 5. Damn the bottom 5.
Quick,
all right, go
Brian. Coming in at 1.
Go ahead.
All right, coming in at number 10, 20-37 overall, 39.1 points per review A&M. Number 9, Coppin State, 21-31, 40.59 points. Coming in at number 8, Jackson State, 28-25, 42.36 points. Coming in at number 7, North Carolina A&T, 19-28, 45.36 points. And coming in at number 6, the Jaguars of Southern University, 23-28, 47.41 points. Now, that is the correct bottom 5, Brian. Did you have any problems with that?
No.
I'll go again.
Go to the top 5.
6 for Southern, 7 North Carolina A&T, 8 Jackson, 9 Coppin, 10 Prairie View. All right, top 5. Coming in at number 5, the Tigers of Texas Southern, 31-22, 48.12 points. Coming in at number 4, the Tigers of Grambling State, 29 and 26, 54.71 points. All right, Florida. Which Florida team is coming in at number 3, Brian? FAMU or Bethune?
Hopefully it's Bethune, given the fact that they lost to FAMU. So let's hope that the computers recognize that and have Bethune at number 3.
And that would be correct, Brian. Bethune-Cookman with 57.98 points, 33 and 27 overall. Coming in at number 2. Now this is their point, Brian, where you got the 2 on the stage.
Wait, it can only be one of 2 teams, right? We're looking at, let's be real. At this point, it can only be either Florida A&M or Alabama State. So that's like having, Miss America or Miss USA and Miss Columbia up on the stage at the same time, standing next to Steve Harvey. Somebody's going home as Miss America. The other person is going to be the first runner-up.
Okay. The runner-up has a total of 63.73 points. The winner has a total of 68.38 points. 5-point difference there, Brian.
Okay. 5 point.
5 points. And the runner-up is the Rattlers of Florida A&M University, which means that the BCSN HBCU National Champion for baseball with a 41-18 record is the Hornets of Alabama State University.
And you know what? I can't argue. With it. We saw a very similar outcome in Division II, where Albany State outlasted, I can't even remember who was number 2, but
Savannah State was number 2.
Savannah State, and they had a better record than Savannah State, had a better record than who else? Talladega, Edward Waters,
Florida Memorial.
So even though, head-to-head at the end of the season, Albany State lost to Florida Memorial, Albany State still, by virtue of their record, they won the regular season in their division. Alabama State did the same thing. It's funny how the initials, ASU, similar situation, right? Won the regular season, had the better record, 41-18. Drew, they were pretty much number 1. I would guesstimate at least the last 7 or 8 weeks.
Yeah, ranking. I think Bethune may have been one for 1 week. Florida A&M was one for 1 week. But other than that, it's been Alabama State.
SWAC East dominated. So it's no surprise, should be no surprise to anybody that 1, 2, and 3 were the top 3 teams in the SWAC East. And if you look at you can make an argument based on their record. And this is why, again, it's hard to put this on the field, but at the same time, you got to be this. Again, this is the thing about our rankings. We don't apologize for our rankings because they're metric based. We've seen it in football. This past year, North Carolina Central was undisputed, but the year before, Jackson State was our football national champion over South Carolina State. And a large portion win-loss record matters, and that's the thing. It's a tournament.
I'm sorry.
A makeup call.
Yeah, you wrong for that. You wrong for that, EA.
Come on now. There were perfect metrics in there for, some people might look at it that way. So, it is not. It is not. We stand behind the 2019 FAMU national champions, as well as the 2021 Jackson State national champions, both who did not win their final game of the season, but had the best body of work. So we stand by those. Alabama State, we stand by the body of work, which is what this is. So, again, it's not always as clean as we'd like it to be. Hey, look, if FAMU had a few more wins, again, 5 points. A few more wins, FAMU's, probably edging out Alabama State, even though Alabama State won 41 games.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I mean, but hey, congratulations to Coach Melendez, and congratulations, Coach Shoup. Congratulations to Coach Hernandez. All of them 1, 2, 3. Congratulations to the Hornets. The Hornets, of course, the SWAC Commissioners Cup champs. So they just keep piling up championships, Drew. And when we get ready to do our year in review show next week or the week after, we're going to have to seriously ask the question, was Alabama State the best program in HBCU athletics?
Commissioner Cup says yes.
Well, here's what I'd like for us to think about. Can we compare, and this is one ranking, Drew, that I'm going to mix. I want us to mix in D2, NAIA, and NCAA and say who was the best HBCU program.
Like the BCSN Cup. We'll call it the BCSN Cup.
Yes, the BCSN Cup. Yeah, I mean, we'll give it. Yeah, I like that name. Who was the best program? We need to figure. You know what? Before we venture too far down the road, we have to establish the criteria, because if we don't, that's the one thing about.
We talked about this on Thursday's lab.
Yes, yeah, we have been strong and steadfast with our criteria. So every now and then, someone who's not familiar with it jumps in our mentions and says, "Oh, this ranking is horrible." Where you get our ranking has been consistent since day one. Y'all just don't like the results. That's okay, but the rankings have been consistent. So now, Drew, we got to establish, what we got to think of a point system, because there might be a D2 or an NAIA program that, according to the BCSN Cup, might be better than a Division I in terms of, who had the best athletic season.
We're gonna have to look at that. Anybody got any suggestions over things we need to include? Throw them in the chat. Yeah. One last thing before we jump off of baseball to take this final break, Bryan.
Yeah.
I did want to get this out, and this is courtesy of Black College Nines, Bryan. Colleague of ours, has covered HBCU, primarily baseball for many years. Michael Coker formally announced that he has stage 4 prostate cancer, Bryan. As you know, Michael was one of the people who is behind the brainchild of the Black College World Series. Just participated in the 3rd annual Black College World Series, ironically, in the city where I'm at right now, in Montgomery, Alabama. All 3 of them have been in Montgomery. And this article is by Jay Sokol, who is the founder of Black College Nines. It says, Michael wears many hats. Besides being a major part of our efforts at Black College Nine, he's executive director of Black College Championship, the organization that runs the Black College World Series, which he dreamed of years ago and founded 3 years ago. To top it off, Michael is a member and a special consultant to Black Collegiate Baseball Writers Association and a founding member of the HBCU Pro Sports Association. And then he goes on to say, he revealed to me that he is undergoing chemotherapy treatment after being diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. And he was originally diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2013. He underwent chemo and beat it. Then he returned in 2015. It returned in 2015 and he beat it again. So unfortunately, it says also in 2021 he had to take radiation for prostate cancer and thought he had nipped it in the bud, but according to Michael, doctors discovered the cancer during a routine physical in May of 2023 when he took his PSA test. The cancer had mutated, spreading into his ribs and lymph nodes, thus being diagnosed as stage 4. So, just want to send our thoughts and prayers out to Michael Coker. Michael went on to say, I wish this had been caught earlier. The next time you go for a basic exam on your yearly checkup, please ask your doctor for a PSA test. Caught early, it's 99% treatable. I hope my story will save just one life as I encourage others to get screened. My goal this year was to see my 63rd birthday, which I did on March 22nd. My goal now is to help save at least one life by coming out with this news. So all those, pray to whoever's God that you pray to, and just hope that that your God gives Michael the strength to overcome this this dreaded disease. Michael has been a big contributor to the growth of baseball over the years. So our thoughts and prayers are with you, Michael. So, go ahead, Bryan.
Well said. I think you said a lot there, and I won't add to that at this time. BlackCollege9s.com is where you can read all of you can read about this story and more, as they have been a huge, I can't even say it, huge advocate of HBCU baseball. And it's great to work with them and see the work they do with a focus on the sport of HBCU baseball. And so thoughts and prayers are out to Michael as he goes through the recovery, and we hope that he beats this. All right, let's step away for a quick 2 minutes, and on the other side, we'll talk about some schedules, some big news happening. The biggest of stages are coming up this fall for HBCU football teams. We'll talk about that more on the other side. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap. We'll be back in a moment.
I have in me the ability to make you a better you. So if you work hard, focus, stay on point, you can do anything. Trust me.
We made this track to tell everybody they can follow their dreams.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are black beyond measure.
Remember the revival? Relive the remix. Reunite for the Orange Blossom Classic. HBCU Reunion Experience. It's year 3, baby, and we back with that fire. Calling all HBCU fans. Labor Day weekend. The I Love Jackson State University takes on the venomous Florida A&M University. Tickets are on sale now. Watch the game in premium style seating or watch it from a luxury suite. And of course, you know the halftime show is going to be epic right here in the 305. The sonic boom of the South and the illustrious Marching 100. Who you rocking with? The 2023 Orange Blossom Classic. Don't miss the HBCU reunion experience. Labor Day weekend, Miami Gardens, Florida, Hard Rock Stadium. Trust me, we'll see you there. Oh. Check out OrangeBlossomClassic.com for tickets and info.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and A.D here. And as we move a little bit closer towards the end of the show, as you can see, I am in my normal abode, normal background, and Drew's on location. Drew's on location, so we'll just keep it at that. Oh, he already kind of, if you're paying attention, he already said where he is, so there ain't no secrets out there.
Yes, definitely. And Bryan, also because I am on location and have a engagement that I'm committed to at the time that we would normally end our show. We actually started an hour early, so if you missed the beginning of our show and you tuned in at our normal time and wondering why we were in the middle of a conversation when you tuned in at 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central, that is why. So please make sure you go back and rewind the beginning of the show. But let us finish this first, then go back and catch it afterwards.
All right. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button wherever you're watching us. If you're on Facebook or on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button if you would, please. Hey, and you also can, tips are appreciated. I know there's this anti-tip movement which is going on out there. Like, people, when you go to place your to-go order and they say, would you like to leave a tip? Like, no, because I had to drive here to pick up my food, and you making my food is part of your job. So why should I tip? But anyway, we in order to keep this project going, it'd be great, to just, any contributions you'd like to make to the BCSN, to the Black College Sports Network, our show. You can see the scroll down at the bottom. If you're on YouTube, you can also leave a super tip. Make sure you have subscribed on that Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page and hit the bell, so that way you can be notified. Like our friend Mary 305, she was notified and she knew we were coming on early, and she was in. Edwin asked, are we keeping this time? No, Edwin, we actually prefer the 6 o'clock time slot. This is kind of a special time. So we decided to just jump really to some other things, and we'll have to, what we will have to do is we'll do a job when we are changing our start times of putting notifications out there. That's one thing we will and do have to get better. But you can always catch the shows if you miss any part of it on the BCSN Pod Zone. Where you listen and watch podcasts, you can find the BCSN Pod Zone, Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, any of the platforms I missed, Radio Public. Just search BCSN Pod Zone, all of the shows, our show, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab show, the OG Strike Zone, Carlos Brown show, which aired yesterday. If you missed Carlos' show, you can catch Carlos' show right there as well. All right. All right. So, Drew, something for the first time happened, or something for the first time is happening, I should say, this fall. And it's happening in 2 consecutive weekends. And I think this is a big, you've been very adamant about pointing out the post-prime effect. And look like, what does it mean? Well, maybe these occurrences are an aspect, the impact of Coach Bryan. And so I want you to keep that in mind out of here. For the first time in the MEAC SWAC Challenge history, the game will be in prime time on network television. That's right. Of the Celebration Bowl 2 seasons ago between Jackson State and South Carolina State in Atlanta. That's the big channel. Boy, network. That's where the same channel that 30 p.m. you'll be actually in South Carolina State, and it's the first meeting these two teams since Jack Celebration Bowl. What are your initial thoughts when you heard the news about this this contest, this game? And I realize we're probably as you're staring at me, one of the beautiful things about the internet. Drew, are you still there?
I'm not sure if you can still hear me, Bryan. My internet is buffering right now.
I'm not sure if I have Drew.
The Cuvée Group. The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right, Bryan, are you back? Not quite sure if Bryan is back. We are here on the BCSN SportsWrap. Can you hear me, Bryan?
I can hear you. You can hear me now. So
I can. I could.
Bug issue. Not sure.
I could barely hear you though, Bryan. Your volume kind of went down. I think we both buffered at the same time, Bryan. I know I'm on hotel Wi-Fi, and I know what my issue was, and I switched over to my phone, hotspotting off my phone now.
Yeah, hard line. I had to switch from Wi-Fi line. So I don't know, Drew. I don't know. Maybe it's a sign. It's telling us you guys aren't meant to do a show today, and you might get the hell up out. I don't know. I know you got to go somewhere. Well, really, I don't know where to go. But anyway,
all dressed up and no place to go.
So
let's start that segment over, Bryan.
We'll go back to doing real podcast and just record it, edit it, and then drop it. And I don't know, but we're buffering again. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call an audible here, Drew, because I hate the fact that we're continuing having issues.
Sound like we're good now, Bryan. I think it's caught back up.
What did he say? Edwin said, passing by the hotel, team escape. Oh my goodness. Is that too soon?
Too soon. True story about Tina Turner, better known as Anime Bullock. Graduated high school with one of my aunts, Sumner High School, St. Louis, Missouri, 1958.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Anime
Bullock.
All right. Yeah, that was where Tina Turner was played by
Lynn Whitfield. I believe it was Lynn Whitfield.
Lynn Whitfield. Was it Lynn Whitfield? No, it wasn't Lynn Whitfield.
I know Lawrence Fishburne was Ike.
Somebody correct. I don't think it was Lynn Whitfield though, Drew. I think you got it wrong.
Yeah, I know Ike was Angela Bassett. Thank you.
I can see how you get. I can understand how you get Angela Bassett and Lynn Whitfield mixed up though. Two similar looking, beautiful women of a same build and shape. I could see that. Because Lynn Whitfield played in, was it A Thin Line? Isn't that what she played in? Thin Line?
Yeah.
And so what was the name of the movie again with Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne?
What's Love Got to Do with It?
What's Love Got to Do with It? Right. Yeah. So see, I don't know why I can remember Lynn Whitfield in A Thin Red Line. Yeah, it was all. Yeah, okay.
A thin line between love and hate. That was with Martin Lawrence.
Okay. Yes. I always felt like Angela Bassett and Lynn Whitfield probably auditioned for similar roles. And if you saw Angela in one, she probably beat out Lynn Whitfield. I'm just
vice versa.
Or vice versa. Right. Who would you say had the bigger career?
Let's park that one to another show.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on. I was just trying to throw you. Hey, well, look, we talked about trying to come up with stuff during the summer. But yeah.
Best sports movies. We'll do that one day.
Oh my goodness. Edwin says Angela had a better career. All right, well, that's fine. We're gonna do okay. So here's what I'm proposing going forward. We're gonna go 2 actors, and this can be man or woman, or we might need to go a male category and a female category, and then go two actors and say who had the better career or who is having the better career. Because obviously, if they're not dead, we want to continue to say who is having the better career, or maybe another way, who's having a more memorable career. Anyway, if they win, they advance to the next week, and we find somebody new to pair them up against. How about that? That's something, dude.
Red Fox, Richard Pryor.
Ooh, is that what we're doing next week? Red Fox and Richard Pryor? Uh-oh. That's a hell of a start. All right. Red Fox or Richard Pryor. Stay tuned. The BCSN SportsWrap will debate next week. But okay, let's reset this, Drew, because who knows? I'm gonna have to go into post-production and get real choppy with it, as the last 5 minutes were a flat-out mess. But I don't even know where we were, so I'm gonna start back from the top. Coming out of the break, I mentioned that it was the first time that the MEAC-SWAC Challenge in the history of this, which has been, over a decade plus now? How many years has the MEAC-SWAC Challenge been?
No, it's going on 20, Brian.
20. Yeah. So don't mess around, Jeremiah, because we are doing movie reviews next week. So we're going to be previewing Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. So that's Drew. That's your assignment for next week. So we're going to give a review about Spider-Man and the new Spider-Man. Featuring
long as you don't make me show a ticket stub on how I watched it, Brian.
You're free to watch it in whatever means you can watch, Drew. You know what? I might even bring on our guy John from Grumpy Old Nerds to jump in. That might be a little cool segment where we bring him in. I'll start working on that, and maybe we'll bring in John from Grumpy Old Nerds, and will kind of help us out with our movie review of Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, or I don't even know what that's the name of it. But anyway, okay, let me get back. I got sidetracked again. Thanks, Jeremiah. But the Celebration Bowl, 20 years. This is the first year. It's going to be on ABC, the Big Boy Network, the same network that's showing the NBA Finals tonight. On August 26th, 7:30 p.m., you're going to get in Atlanta, Jackson State versus South Carolina State, a repeat. The Bulldogs I'm reading an article here from HBCUSports.com. Bulldogs with a 3-1 record against Jackson State. The Bulldogs are making their 5th appearance in the MEAC-SWAC Challenge. That is the most of any team in the game's histories, and they are 3-1. The 3-1 is they have won 3 of the previous 4 contests. The one time they did lose was in 2017, where they lost to Southern by a score of 14-8. For Jackson State, this is Jackson State's 3rd meeting in the MEAC-SWAC Challenge, and it will also be the first game under new head coach T.C. Taylor. The Tigers lost the 2 previous appearances in 2019 to Bethune-Cookman and 2008 to Hampton. So I'm telling you now, the early money line will be 3.5 on South Carolina State. I'm just putting it out there now, and the early line should be 3.5 South Carolina State. But Drew, talk about, what are your thoughts there? You see that big news of ABC hosting the game, and then I've got another big nugget as well after. So what are your thoughts?
I I remember the last time Jackson State played in a BXWAC challenge. I was there. Then I went back and watched it on ESPN, whatever it was on. Went back and watched it online. And if I was on my other computer, Brian, I would pull up the clip of the mascot, the Tiger, getting the 15-yard penalty
for dancing
and getting ejected from the game.
Classic.
For whatever he did to the Bethune-Cookman player when Jackson State scored that touchdown.
I think there was a if I recall the play correctly, he didn't get ejected for dancing, although there was a little battle, a dance-off between him and the Bethune-Cookman Wildcat. But I think there was a play in which I don't know who was on offense or defense, but a receiver and a DB, one from Jackson State, one for Bethune. I think it was a Bethune receiver, Jackson State DB, because it ended up being a Bethune touchdown. There was a tie ball. There was a tie.
Yeah.
And for some reason, there was
and they were still fighting over the ball.
They were still fighting over it. And then for some reason, the mascot, after about maybe 3 seconds of them, he tries to pull the Bethune player off of the Jackson State guy. He lost his mind. I don't know. I guess he and it was one of the greatest clips. Maybe we'll have to relive that moment. But do you even let the mascot near the field this year?
I'm pretty sure whoever was in the mascot costume in 2019 has graduated by now. I would hope he has graduated by now and has gone on to get a master's degree in mascotting. We'll just say it like that. But I remember the play. I can tell you the end zone, and when we go to Center Park Stadium, I can point to the spot in the end zone where it was, because I was live. I just happened to be sitting in that end zone where that play occurred at. So it was very memorable. That's all I am. But that wasn't the question, Brian. The question was, what do I think about this game moving over to the Big Boy Network? I think it's doggone good. That game moves over to the Big Boy Network, Brian, not because Prime got up on his podium and asked ESPN to move it over to the Big Boy Network off of you, off of Plus, off of 3, off of 2, whatever.
Yeah, what channel was it on previously or usually?
Probably U or 2.
Okay.
Yeah, probably either U or 2. But, Brian, that game moves over because of one thing, Brian. That means someone in Bristol, Connecticut realized that these HBCU football games, especially these classics such as the Celebration Bowl, BXWAC Challenge, and a few other classics that are out there, because, yeah, those are still classics. When you get done, those are our classic model format, are generating eyeballs, Brian. Because they're generating eyeballs, they're getting advertisers. And where do you, if you're ESPN and ABC and Disney, where are you going to put your prime products at for that particular week? Whichever one's going to get the most eyeballs. ABC gets set of eyeballs 1. ESPN gets eyeball 2. ESPN 2 gets eyeballs 3. ESPNU gets eyeballs 4. Everybody else goes to plus or 3. It's that simple, Brian. It's just, so ESPN, ABC, and Disney realize the value of this particular game, sir. So that's why this game has bumped up. Now, it helps that it's a week 0 game. You know, you don't have a Michigan, Ohio State. You don't have Florida State playing Texas or anything else to compete with it. And because ESPN owns so many products, they can strategically place it because there aren't that many games that particular week. So they realize of all the games that they have this week, this is a game that's probably going to generate the most eyeballs, which means they can command the most money for advertising on this game. So you black folk who don't realize the value of your marketing purpose, of your marketing, and the value we bring to these networks, the hell with the 40,000 people or 30,000 people who are in that stadium. It's about the millions of eyeballs who are watching. That's what this stuff is all about.
Excellent point. Well said. That's where I think we have grown in our knowledge and discussion about media and TV rights. Hopefully we'll see some more educated comments about the television, packaging, streaming rights, visibility this upcoming fall. That's the hope. You know, I again, remains to be seen. But being seen is important. Being seen is important. And so being on ABC is huge for these schools. So as big as that is, and of course that's week 0, right? That's week 0 of the league season. What's also impressive is that the following week, which is the official first week of the season, Jackson State will get another big-time national television game, as this time when they travel down to Miami Gardens to take on the Rattlers. The Orange Blossom Classic will air on ESPN. Yes, not ESPN2, as it has maybe the last couple years, but on ESPN, 3 o'clock Eastern, and that's huge for this game. You know, it's huge as, you know, I think for Florida A&M, it's the first time since the 1995 Heritage Bowl that Florida A&M has been featured on the primary ESPN channel. That game, I think, was Grambling State or Southern. Who was it? Southern. I think it was Southern in 95. But yeah, that was FAMU, a Heritage Bowl game back when it was on. And then if you want to even go deeper and say when's the previous experience or previous nationally televised game for Florida A&M, you have to go to the 1979 game against the University of Miami, which was on ABC or probably ABC Regional at that time. I don't think it was on the national ABC, but ABC was doing region. This was before ESPN, right? So what are your thoughts on that contest? Back-to-back weeks, Drew. Big-time opportunities, not only for Jackson State, but, you know, for Florida A&M and South Carolina State, the MEAC and the SWAC.
Interesting, and I know everybody at Disney knows that Prime is not at Jackson State anymore. So for Jackson State to get featured 2 consecutive weeks is really saying something about the SWAC and HBCU football in general, number one. Number two, that means that Disney probably lost some programming that was on ABC. Because remember, the U.S. Open is also played that weekend, that Labor Day weekend. And the U.S. Open has been what has always bumped the Orange Blossom Classic to ESPN2. So probably what has happened is the U.S. Open has moved to ABC, and with that moving to ABC, that opened up the slot for this game to move to ESPN. I can almost guarantee you That's what happened there, Brian. But it's great that everything bumped up one slot.
Look at you, Drew. That's next level. That's a next level thought there. Haven't really seen anybody, publish or talk about that, but that's a good point. That's a good point. So yeah. Also, some other games the opening weekend. I think that are going to be on ESPN or the ESPN family of networks. You have the Red Tails Classic, which will be between Tuskegee and Fort Valley State. That game will be on ESPNU. Now that game, is that going to be on the same day as the Orange Blossom Classic?
It has been. It's always been on the Sunday.
Okay. So that'll usually be a 6 or 7 o'clock kickoff.
That's an evening start. Yes.
Yeah, that's an evening start. I'm trying to
from Crampton Bowl in Montgomery.
Bowl. Yeah, I'm trying to pull up that list now as I'm looking at some of the different notes here on HBCUsports.com related to it. Any other thoughts regarding the opening weekend schedule of games?
Yeah, Brian. How about the fact that there is a Division II game that's being broadcast on one of the main ESPN networks? Let's talk about that.
Second or third year in a row for that, though.
Yeah, Division II. You're getting a Division II game before you getting North Dakota State or one of those type schools, Brian. Idaho, Wyoming, whatever. No, Division II, HBCU.
Well,
that just
goes again. Yeah, no, that again goes to the product, right? The bands, the pageantry, the alumni base that is active, and we need.
You have the winningest HBCU in history in Tuskegee. You have Fort Valley, who's been a very successful program over the years. You have the fact that Fort Valley, which you can say is which is Robins Air Force Base, which is 20 miles from Fort Valley's campus, versus Tuskegee, which is Maxwell Air Force Base. So there's a good historic connection in there. You got basically two Air Force bases, HBCUs related to Air Force bases in the Red Tails Classic, which is an Air Force related title and in honor of the Tuskegee Airmen.
And with this being the third year for this, Drew, there seems a real strong I'm looking for the right word, a commitment to have this game. I don't know if this is because of the city. I think the city, in conjunction with maybe the network television, there just is a real, 3 years. I don't know, was there any word, or did you hear, is there a contract that says, hey, initially when they first put this, that over the next 3 to 5 years, because, sometimes things cycle away after 3 years.
I think originally it was supposed to be a 2-year deal with the city of Montgomery. And then if you remember last year, Boeing came on as the title sponsor for the Boeing's Red Tails Classic. And I think probably with that, there was a greater commitment to, extending it out to another couple of years. Plus, Brian, when you think of the proximity of these two schools to Montgomery, Alabama, obviously Tuskegee lies within the Montgomery DMA, the Montgomery television market, with their campus being less than 40 miles from the stadium to the campus. Fort Valley, for those who are not familiar, is straight down US 80 from Montgomery, Alabama, less than 3 hours from the Fort Valley campus to Montgomery, Alabama. So that's a good base right there. And then when you consider Atlanta, 3 hours from Montgomery, Alabama, where Tuskegee has its largest alumni base. And I don't know if Fort Valley has its largest alumni base in Atlanta, but they have a deep alumni base in Atlanta. So it just makes sense. Now, here's what's going to be interesting, and I have not looked at the schedule. Does Alabama State play at home once again on that same weekend? Because if they do, although Alabama State hosts their game on their stadium camp, their campus on state, the campus, the stadium on their campus. Boy, I can't talk right now, Brian.
I was trying to figure out where you were going with that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Even though they're hosted it on, on the new stadium, which is on their campus, that was a blown out, sold out weekend for the people in Montgomery. So, like I say, I'm hoping Alabama State also is hosting a game on that particular weekend, and I'll look it up while you comment on that.
All right. While we're talking about opening season games on the 4-letter network, another article here from HBCUSports.com. The SWAC will be the national spotlight on Thursday nights again, as 3 weeknight SWAC games are scheduled to air on ESPNU.
Is that the pre-release, Brian, on that wasn't supposed to go out, or is that the official release that you're reading?
I'm reading this. I'm assuming this is coming from probably ESPN or ESPN PR. It's a good question. I mean, it's not the whole schedule like what UAPB put there. Probably jumped the gun a little bit. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But the first game is going on September 21st. UAPB against Alabama at Alabama A&M. This is coming. I guess this is also coming from FBSschedules.com. So somehow they've gotten an early lead. HBCU Sports is reporting it or adding to it. Mississippi Valley State will take on Bethune on a Thursday in November 2nd at 7:30. So that's when Valley travels to Daytona Beach. Nothing like having to travel from Valley to Daytona Beach in the middle of the week. What a great opportunity there. And then Grambling taking on UAPB on Friday. So I might have said something about Thursdays, but this is a Friday game, November 10th at 9 p.m. Eastern. That'll be an 8 p.m. kickoff in Arkansas Pine Bluff. So, Drew, this will be a longer debate later. Your thoughts on playing Thursday games and then, of course, a Friday game. I've heard people say these contests aren't for us.
Okay, getting back to yes, the Labor Day Classic is being held on that Saturday, Brian. Southern versus Bama State. That's the Saturday before the Red Tails Classic, the day before.
Okay, I'm lost. Are we talking about what I was talking about, or what you were talking?
No, I was going back. I was wondering if Bama State was at home on the day before the Red Tails Classic with the Labor Day Classic. They played Southern on that day before.
All right, so I'm imagining. Did you hear anything that I was saying?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Now, getting back to these Thursday games, Brian. Brian, obviously Thursday night games are made for TV productions because we don't travel to games on Thursday nights. That a Thursday night game is a game where you just might as well open it up, invite the high schools out and whatever, and let them in for free. Hopefully you'll be able to get your applications up from the high school kids attending a Thursday night game. Now, Thursday nights before, I like Thursday night games before homecoming, right? Or Thursday night games before a bye week. Because if you do a Thursday night game before a homecoming, that gives you actually that week, you get that full weekend before to do your homecoming activities on your campus.
Right.
Obviously, and if you do a Thursday night game before a bye week or coming out of a bye week, it could be beneficial to your athletes, especially if you're injured. So I definitely like Thursday night games in those situations. Friday nights, I can't stand Friday nights, Brian. Friday nights are for high school football. I'm sorry. Keep your games off of Friday night. NFL has been talking about going to Friday night games. Please. Friday night is for high school football. Leave high school football alone. I bet you. Now,
high school Friday night comes to an end sometime, though, Drew. Isn't that about the time when you start getting into playoff time once you reach November, the first or second week in November?
Brian, everybody is following somebody's high school team into December when the state championships are being played. Yeah, leave Friday night alone. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Yeah, UAPB hosting Grambling on a Friday. That'll be interesting. Alabama A&M host. I think for the local crowd, I'm gonna push back on this, Drew, and say for the local crowd, like the local community, you should be able to attend these games. Now, I get it if you were someone who lives an hour, 2, 3 hours away, and you go to.
Well, you have to give it your promotions to open it up for those local people. And reach out to people who may not want to attend the Saturday.
Okay, but I'm still not giving away free tickets though. But I'm thinking
I didn't say give them away.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm just saying. I think for UAPB folks on a Friday night, who knows? Maybe you can turn it into something. I think what makes it hard again now the 8 o'clock start helps you because it's a Friday night. You're more likely to be up late. Can you get your student body out? Maybe you can turn it into a party for the students or something. Maybe give away, have a big party or something. Bring in a concert after. Here you go. I'm marketing for UAPB now. Have a big concert scheduled for after the game, so that way you get people to stay. We've seen how that works out and plays out. So, again, if you're in the local community, you have no excuse. I think if you're traveling longer than 30 minutes or an hour, okay, I could bite and understand. But we'll see.
The hotel people hate Thursday and Friday games.
I'm sure they do. But like you said, those games part of television. And then one of the things that UAPB did, we saw them sort of drop their entire schedule out there, which also included games on HBCU Go. Now, we have not seen an HBCU Go schedule yet. Of course, HBCU Go, many people recall last year signed the big deal with the SWAC. So who knows? But UAPB put their games out. They put their whole schedule out there, Drew. You said that was a mistake, huh?
Oops.
Somebody didn't get the memo. I told you offline, I'm okay with UAPB putting it out there. They're like, hey, we're one of the bottom 2 teams in the SWAC. We have no attendance. We got a new coach. I'm trying to build excitement any way possible. And if I drop the schedule out, I'm going to apologize to Andrew Roberts and Dr. McClellan. I'm going to say, I'm sorry. I forgot, or we set the wrong, we set the wrong date for June 1 when actually it was supposed to be June 7th. When this, you watch, pay attention. I bet you anything that they were a week ahead. They jumped the gun by a week. I bet you anything later this week we find out what the whole schedule is. That'll probably come out later this week. But yeah, so I'm okay with it. UAPB, do your thing, man. You know, whatever it takes, right, Drew? Whatever it takes. You got to build up something. Before we get ready to wrap up the show today, Drew, we're going to kind of do a little something different, as Game 2 of the NBA Finals is going to be on tonight. Did you get a chance to watch any of Game 1 between the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets?
No, I did not.
Any highlights? Did you watch any highlights or listen to any commentary?
I saw the highlights. Obviously, I listened to the prognostication of it the next day.
All right. So obviously, you know, the Nuggets won.
That Joker is bad. That's all I'm gonna say.
Who does he remind? Does he remind you of anybody when you think of Jokic? Does he remind you of anybody?
He reminds me a lot of a Larry Bird player. A little mix of a Kevin McHale and a little Karl Malone.
Okay.
Those are probably a combination of those three players in my eyes. Who he reminds me of, you know, the passing and the smarts of a bird, the fearlessness of a bird, you know, and just the post play of a combination of Malone and McHale.
So, is there any thought to tonight? Do you have any thoughts on, you know, can the Heat bounce back? Can the Heat, who in their previous 3 rounds in the Eastern Conference, they won a game on the road. Of course, don't forget the Heat are an 8 seed. They were probably 1 quarter away from being eliminated out of the play-in tournament. But they got a win on the road in the 3 previous series against Milwaukee, New York, and Boston. So they didn't get Game 1. Can they get Game 2? Did the Heat get Game 2 tonight? The line is 8.5, just in case you wanted to know what the point spread is. What are your thoughts? Game 2, quickly.
We need a Kevin Love sighting. You need the Kevin Love from back when the Cavs won the title with LeBron and Kyrie. You need a Kevin Love at that level, because Bam is good, but Bam is not the answer. You need Kevin Love. I would actually like to see Bam and Love on the floor more together, but it's usually been one or the other, and Bam has taken up a lot of the minutes at their 4 spot right now. So, but you're going to have a Kevin Love sighting in order for Miami to win. And there's rumors Tyler Hero may be back tonight. That would be a huge boost if he was able to come back. So we'll leave that one out there.
Yeah, I'm skeptical of somebody coming back who hasn't played in any games. I don't know when the last time Hero played. I don't think it was in the playoffs. So you're talking
I think he played. I think he went out in the first round.
Did he?
Of the playoffs. Yes, because I know he played in the play-in game, and it may have been like Game 2 or Game 3 of the first round.
Okay, I stand corrected. Yes, so that'll be interesting to see. I'm going to take Heat +8. I'm going to take the Nuggets in the first half. Whatever the first half line is, if it's 4-5, I'm going to take the Nuggets minus the 4.5 in the first half. Or, you know, I'm going to look for it, see what it is. But I feel like there won't be too much of a difference. But overall, I like the Heat +8.5. I don't see them getting a win. And by all metrics, the total, I believe, Drew, is, hold on, I don't think I can pull it up fast enough. I was gonna look it up because I had my handy dandy site open and ready, but it's loading too slow. I think I heard that the number was 214, in which case the last game was well under 219. So I think this one will also go under 214. So I would lean to the under. So that's in case anybody who likes to play with any extra pizza money that you got. I think those are the best plays that I have heard or really thought about. So that game comes up 8:30 Eastern time on ABC. All right, so that's going to do it for anybody who joined in the past hour. Yeah, we started the show an hour ahead, so you're only going to get an hour of us, but you can always go back and listen to the full show on YouTube, right here on YouTube. You can always rewind it on Facebook, or you can go to the BCSN Pod Zone and hear the full show in its entirety on whatever streaming, whatever podcast platforms that you normally listen and download. Amazon Music is a great one. Spotify, even Apple, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. You can find all of our shows there. Please make sure you follow the Black College Sports Network on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MyBCSN1, the number one. And download the Jericho Broadcast Networks app for us on the Google Play and Apple App Store. MyJBN, MyBCSN is how you can find us. Drew, final word.
Just want to send a shout out to the Dean of HBCU Sports, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, Charles Bishop, and Mike Washington, and give them an advanced congratulations. Bryan, they've put up with the Black College Sports Network's production for 400 shows. 400 shows on the Black College Sports Network. Now, that's, for those who listen, that's not counting what they were doing on their own, in their own market, prior to the Black College Sports Network. That's just 400 shows on the Black College Sports Network. So, and I don't know how many we've appeared on, Bryan, but I probably guarantee you I've probably appeared on close to 100 of those shows as a guest, and probably produced another 100 of those shows behind the scenes that no one ever knew about. So I know I've been along for the ride with you, Dr. Cavill. Thank you for letting me be on the ride with you, Dr. Cavill. I really appreciate it. I've learned a lot about you. Respect you as a colleague. Thank you for the opportunities that you have presented to me. I love working with you I don't even know what year they started with us, Bryan, to be honest with you. But whatever year it was, I love working with you at that point in time, and look forward to continue working with you, Dr. Cavill, over the years. Once again, congratulations. 400 shows. It's an accomplishment.
Coming up on Tuesday, show number 400, episode 400, Tuesday night, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Also, you can find it on Facebook as well, BCSN Facebook page, as well as Dr. Kenyatta Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab Facebook page as well. So a big accomplishment coming up on Tuesday. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you go check out.
I wish we would have been smart enough to number our shows, Bryan, when we first started.
No comment. I'm just happy.
That's why he's the dean, though. That's why he's the dean, because he's smart enough to do that. We have to go back, and we have no clue as to how many shows we done. We just know what year we started doing this together. And we have no clue as to how many SportsWrap shows there were before Bryan and A.D.
Well, the last month of June, it will be the end of season 6. So we know we're about to start our 7th season, Lord willing, coming up in the fall. So that we are excited about. So, all right. There's Doc in the chat room. You guys make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already as you're on your way out the door. Thanks, everybody, for watching, listening, however you're consuming the content feel free to make a donation anytime on the Cash App or on the Google Tips, or you can make a donation on the website as well. So that's going to do it for Drew. At BCSN Drew is where you can find him. And for me, at DRB365. Thanks for watching tonight's episode. And that's it. Peace out, everybody. We will see you next week, 6 o'clock Eastern. We promise we'll do it on time next week. I think, maybe. All right, that's going to do it. Let's pick up and get out of here. Peace out, everybody.
Well, holla.
But stay on hard.